Alright, yeah, and welcome back for the third time with our Jeskai Squee's Invocation list, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the previous two episodes. And let's go in for the third one. Without further ado, let's do that. I'll see you there. Okay, we're in, and we're on the play. We have, a fine hand, I guess. It's a land off of being able to double Clarion, which against an aggro matchup is pretty fine. If we get one blue mana, then we've got a negate against the control matchups. So I think we can take this. We've also got ramp as well, which is quite important for an opener. So yeah, we're just a land off of greatness with this hand, I would say. And honestly, like, Sacred Foundry as a shock land is going to make all of our check lands untapped. And it looks like we might actually have the aggro matchup. Oh no, we have the control matchup. And we're missing our land drops. Good stuff. Alright, we're gonna lose. Oh boy. Although, our opponent has also missed their land drop. Maybe not then. Maybe that's the push we need. We still need another land. And our opponent now has their Sinister Sabotage open. Which means this Pirate's Pillage is quite unlikely to resolve, but we'll try. Let's go Nexus of Fate. I mean, this is probably just going to get a counter anyway, because our opponent won't want us to ramp up and draw, and they get the 2-for-1, yeah. But I feel like I had to go for that, really. Take advantage of my opponent missing that last land drop, which is not something Control ever wants to do. They dump a Niv Mizzet. Okay. And they hit their land drops, okay. Well, we get a treasure map, so that is ramp in itself if our opponent doesn't counter it. Let's see. They might want to do it. No. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Alright, let's get our upkeep stop as well. We get an end step and an upkeep, so while our opponent is doing nothing waiting for us to do something that they can counter, we can actually just make our land drops here. Which is what we want to be doing. So, land, go. Really don't have too much that we want to do. We can always expansion as a counter spell, and we've also got the negate as well. So, really what we want to be finding is our combo pieces. And also stop things like Teferi popping down right now. Which I'm sure is probably on our opponent's mind. They seem to be against it. I wonder if they think that we're actually playing budget Jeskai. Cleansing Nova to the bottom. It's only going to kill Niv Mizzet, and we don't really want to do that. They also occasionally run Crackling Drakes and Enigma Drakes. One or the other. Star of Extinction to the bottom. We've got our 7 mana play. We just really want to be finding either land drops or our Sunbird's Invocation. Okay. So I expect something like a Chemister's on end step here. No? Okay. Opponent's hand is really bad. Odd. But yeah, Chemisters we can actually expansion as well. I don't know whether I'd want to go about doing that, but we'll see. I think we could use Nexus to take an extra turn on my opponent's end step, which they will then counter. But we don't actually have anything that we can do next turn, so I think I'll just opt to draw a card with Treasure Map. If it's a land, then it's pretty good. Yeah, it's Cleansing Nova. Okay. Yeah, we just can't really exploit the second Nexus turn, so I don't think it's worth trying. We need something really good. Now, do they have Niv Mizzet? 1 red, 2 red, 3 red. Yeah, they can play Niv Mizzet if they want. So yeah, we could go for the Nexus here. I mean, it would cost us a treasure at this point, but I don't think we want to do that. Maybe we do now. Now that I can actually crack Treasure Map and take a Nexus of Fate turn. So, I mean, if they go end step Chemisters, then they open up that window for us. There's a Teferi. Okay. So, we're going to try and negate that. And then we have expansion as well to copy the negate, if we want it. There's expansion. Okay. So, let's also expansion. And we'll also... Well, we'll let this all resolve and then... Copy negate onto Fairy.
Time for plan B, as soon as I think of one.
Alright. All of that resolves. A big confusing stack of a mess. And we'll draw an extra card. We now have our opening, so we didn't really even need that Nexus of Fate in the end. Pirate's Pillage. Oh, and there's Sunbirds. Okay, so we're going to go draw a card. It's a treasure map. Take an extra turn. The problem is that our opponent probably runs not Deafening Clarion, Cleansing Nova. And they could probably take out this Sunbird's Invocation, but this is basically our only window to get it down, so I think we have to go for it. If they don't have the Nova, then we should be okay. So I'm just going to commit to the treasure map, honestly. Resolve that, there's nothing to do. If they've got it, we might just lose, so I'm just going to go treasure map anyway, and just assume that we're going to win off of this Star of Extinction. There's Teferi. Okay, so if Teferi minuses...
This isn't a fight you can win.
We can scry the Invocation close to the top. And we can actually just go for a Star of Extinction on that blue mana. And they can't expansion us to counter it either, so definitely want Shivan Fire to the bottom. That is hot garbage. We do have a few hot garbage cards in our deck in game 1. So yeah, this might just be the hit the land, kill Teferi play. It's alternatively a double Pirate's Pillage play as well. The first Pirate's Pillage doesn't get us towards Sunbirds unless there's a land underneath. I think we just take the opportunity to kill Teferi here. And take a blue source off the board. Hopefully he doesn't have the negate. Come on, no negate. He's got an opt. Okay. So yeah, take out the blue source. Kill Teferi. That's 2 out of 4 possible Teferi. Oh, it's 3 out of 4 possible Teferis.
That didn't pan out.
Pretty good. Pretty good. So I'm not even going to upkeep Scry because we know what's on top and we know we want it. So no sense in doing that. I mean, what we could do now is we can just like Pirate's Pillage away some of these dead cards. It doesn't really matter if they counter it, but if they don't, then we get a draw off a Treasure Cove as well, which can help us hit our land drops if we didn't get one. So I think that's pretty good. They're not inclined really to actually counter this Pirate's Pillage because they know there's an Invocation in my hand, which is actually a little bit of leverage that I can use to make certain stuff resolve. Because if they let this resolve, they lose, as far as they're concerned. Right, let me make sure I get my upkeep stopped. So we want to upkeep, see if we want to draw this card. Squee the Immortal, not so fussed about. We will draw a card. Power of the Treasures. We don't need these treasures to actually win. There's Star of Extinction. Okay, so upkeep Scry the treasure map. There's a Nexus of Fate. That's really good. So we'll take that. That's an end step play that allows this Invocation to land. So main phase, play a land, pass the turn. We're going to end step the Nexus, or in response to him playing anything, really. If he taps out for like a Niv Mizzet or a Teferi, we'll get him there. Actually, we'll get him right now. Okay, so let's draw for the turn. He needs a negate now. So the best thing we could draw was Expansion Explosion there. Yep, our opponent just gave us the opportunity for the extra untap, which I think means that we win. So, land. Sunbirds. Does he have the negate? He does not, so we Star of Extinction, hitting your blue land. And we need to hit something like a Nexus of Fate here. I think hitting the land, though, is pretty powerful in and of itself. Ugh, that's a tough one. So, if we hit Invocation, it's pretty good at resolving Star and winning next turn, but if they Nova, it's really brutal. I think we'll go for it, though. We've already committed to this board all the same. So let's just keep them off of mana. We can always rebuild, though, because it'll take their entire turn to Nova this board away, and then we can just Pirate's Pillage and start redrawing into stuff. Yep, they are the gods of the draw. That's a shame. Okay, so Pirates pillage away Deafening Clarion. Another Sunbirds. 3, 6. We're a little mana short of actually going off here. I'm almost tempted to just like star their mana again, keep them off of really good stuff. But I think that's probably a mistake. I mean, we could draw into a Nexus, I suppose. It's just a land. Okay. Big expansion on end step then. Or an expansion now, we're at 30 cards. I mean, once we get to the point where, like, Nexus is our only card, it's going to be quite difficult for them to do anything. So we could expansion Explosion X4. Draw loads of cards, and then just force all of their counter spells out by repeatedly going for Nexus of Fate. Yeah, let's do that. So, 4 to you. Draw 4. Crack a treasure. Did I do the math wrong? Huh. Interesting. Guess I could have done it for 5. My bad. It's not too much of an issue, though. Okay, so let's go treasure map. Counter bait, which is not much of a counter bait. The Nexus here, though, is the one that we want to bait out a counter with. Let's see if they go Chemisters. Alright, so let's go for that counter now. Do you have the Sinister Sabotage or the Ionize? They do, okay. Just getting them out the way. Makes comboing so much easier when there's no counter spells left. So this treasure map is going to go digging for Nexus of Fate. They can do what they want here. But hopefully whatever they want isn't too terrible. I mean, we have plenty of ways to deal with Ixalan's Binding. Huh. Okay. They have plenty of ways to deal with Niv Mizzet, which I think is their only win con at this point, really. Maybe one last Teferi. So they're binding our treasure map, which I think is a very strange play. Knowing that we have an enchantment as a win con. But, I mean, it does slow us down a bit. Yeah, I guess we just pass. There's a possibility that we actually resolve the Invocation, but I don't think we should try for it. End step Chemisters for our opponent. We've just got so few Invocations at this stage that it's probably a mistake to YOLO one out. It's going to be land and go. Alright, land and go for the both of us. How many cards have we got? 24, and 4 of them are Nexus of Fate. Opponent's got 26 though, jeez. Yeah, at some point there is going to be a Niv Mizzet war, I think. Here it is. Alright. Let's see if he just taps out for... Huh. Goes for the Force. That must be just an end-step Chemisters to exploit the Niv Mizzet. That might mean that he can't actually defend his creature here. So let's try and kill Niv Mizzet. We cannot combo off while Niv Mizzet's in play. So he needs to die. Draws a card, pings us. They negate it. So I'm just going to take an extra turn here, I think. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because I can Shivan Fire plus Lava Coil for Niv Mizzet. It's not ideal, but it's the way we're going to have to go about it. So this is either I take an extra turn, or they counter it and then we kill Niv Mizzet anyway. So we take an extra turn, which means they have no counter spell, presumably, but they could draw into one, which is the downside of this plan. Okay, so let's try it, I guess. Lava Coil. Do you have it? I don't have to fire this other Shivan Fire off if they do. Okay, they've just got an Opt. So now we kill Niv Mizzet. Got a lot of value out there. Really drew through the deck. 20 cards left in deck. We got 24, so they've gone further than we have. But they must be running out of win cons at this stage. I don't even know if they've run 4 Niv Mizzets. I think they only run like 2, maybe 3. And 4 Teferis. Okay, so we now play Sunbird's Invocation. Star of Extinction, their final untapped land. Hopefully hit a Nexus of Fate. We do. Okay, so we get an extra turn. And I think that might be game. Let's take out a land. Another Sunbirds. Yeah, that's probably game. Sunbirds hits nothing. We will play Deafening Clarion just to thin the deck, though. Creatures gain lifelink. It's whatever. Get it out of our deck, and then this one triggers twice. Let's hit their blue-red lands. And Nexus into, hopefully, Nexus. Yep, okay, 2 extra turns. And blow up a land. Now we need to be really lucky with our top decks over the next 2 or 3 turns. It's an island. There's a Nexus. Okay, I think that must be game for us. We go 14 cards deep to hit a Nexus. And hopefully hit another one. We just need to find Squee along this line as well. Pirate's Pillage. Okay, it's not the worst. That's actually going to allow us to thin our deck quite substantially. And hit another Nexus. So, Clifftop Retreat. Draw a card. Suppose we should play Nexus, but I'm just going to thin the deck out. If we draw 2 Nexuses, it's fine. Yeah, okay, so Nexus again. And I think we've taken what is effectively infinite turns at this point, so eventually this Nexus is going to reveal Squee. He will be getting shuffled around our deck. We've got so many turns now, and a counterspell for next turn. There is Squee. Alright, so play Squee. Win con established. No Lava Coil, no targets. Can't play Nexus. And then we just basically swing to Squee our opponent. I think we've already got all the Nexus turns set up right now. Oh no, we've only got an extra 1. Okay, so I should Nexus. Just take some extra turns. Bank this up a little bit higher. There's Nexus. Sunbird's triggers. There's Nexus. Yeah, my opponent can scoop whenever they feel like it. Taking down Jeskai Control in game 1 is not easy. And I thought we were dead right at the very beginning of that game, where we missed our land drop. Our opponent thankfully missed theirs and put us back on a level playing field. It allowed us to maneuver their counterspells quite effectively. Really clutch Nova as well for them taking down our Sunbirds right on time. Don't want to play any of these. Really don't need to. And yeah, we just draw Nexuses for the rest of the game. Take them down to 0 life total. Get Squeed Jeskai Control. And that'll do it. Sideboard related, we do actually have a fair amount against this deck. We turn pretty much into a control deck, so we should be able to contend with them a fair bit. So we've got Disdainful Strokes for Teferis and other things like that. Cleansing Novas, as an example. We also have Negates for all of their counterspells. Sinister Sabotage as a catch-all for everything. We could play the Immortal Sun if we have some spare slots, but it is mostly here for Golgari, so we'll have to figure that one out. Against this deck, though, we do not want Shivan Fires. We don't want Lava Coils. I will bring in a Justice Strike, though, because it takes care of Crackling Drake and Niv Mizzet, so it has some potential here. Deafening Clarion is dead. And what else? I mean, most of the deck is fine, I guess. I guess Cleansing Nova isn't a blow-away card right now. We'll just rely on Star of Extinctions, hopefully. since it takes care of both Teferi and Niv-Mizzet. And we've at least got the Justice Strike for creatures. Yeah, I think the list as it is should work quite well. As long as we draw our counter spells in a reasonable time, we should be able to fight through whatever they're doing and get our job done as well. And yeah, let's try it like that. We've got one game to test anyway, so if this one doesn't go too well, then we can go to game 3 and maybe switch things up a bit. Knowing that they have Nova and that they're probably going to keep it in against our enchantments makes the Immortal Sun not so effective as well. Okay, so this hand has a negate on turn 2, which is pretty good. Also has the potential for a Pirate's Pillage on 4. We probably don't want to play it on 4 though, we probably want to play it on like 6 when we can counter. It depends on how our opponent ends up playing their game though. If they tap out for turn 4 and give us that window, then we might just do it. Okay, so the likelihood that they play something I want to counter isn't out of the question. We could see something like a Search for Azcanta. I'd be interested in countering, so I'm going to play that. Okay, so I think this is just going to be Sacred Foundry and Treasure Map here. Actually, it'd be Mountain, Treasure Map. We'll play the Mountain first, just in case they have Syncopate. We didn't see it, but it's not to say that they don't have it. And this is just going to allow us to filter our deck as this game goes into a pretty much dirtly let's do nothing deck game. So let's just go hunting essentially for either land drops, which I don't want right now because we have a Sacred Foundry, or something like a counterspell. On 4, they're most likely to Chemist us. So I think I'll just go tapped, Sacred Foundry, and Treasure Map. I'm not sure what they could play that would make me change my mind. And they're countering a Treasure Map. Wow. That's almost like the binding on the Treasure Map. That's crazy. Maybe they'll go binding Treasure Map. Who knows? Okay. Which opens up this Pirate's Pillage, which is fine. It works for me. And we get our land drop. Okay, so this Pirate's Pillage is probably going to drop the land drop, though. For the treasures, and I was hoping that we'd hit a land there, but we didn't, unfortunately. This does open up a kill for something like the Crackling Drake, but I don't know if I want to go about doing that. Another treasure map we can't cast. Boo. Yeah, that binding might have gotten us, funnily enough. All these cards that we're drawing now would have either been quite useful or would have been better later down the line. Okay, so I don't think I want to take down a Crackling Drake as a 1/4, but he will be probably just Chemisting here, so it doesn't really represent a 1/4 in reality. Explosion X1. I have to use both treasures to take an extra turn here, and I'm not really doing anything with that extra turn, so I could punish that to take my free turn, but it cost me 2 treasures to do so, so I'm not going to do that. If I had something like a Pirate's Pillage that I could fill up on this treasure map with, then I might reconsider. But for now, I think I can afford to take this damage. There's a land drop, so that Nexus of Fate now only takes a treasure to cast. And we'll pass. But he has us on a clock. We really have to respect that clock. Take 2. He might just even protect it for the rest of the game as well. Ideally, I draw a land next turn and I can start trying to use all of these spells to bait the counters. Pirate's Pillage. Yeah, I could go Pirate's Pillage here. Dump the treasure map, it's dead. If he counters it, I could negate, though I don't think I'd want to, because he can follow up with something far worse. He does let it go. And we got our land as well, which means we can do the end step Nexus of Fate, which opens up a Sunbird's Invocation. Okay, so let's go negate. See if he has one of his own. They've got the expansion. Okay, so they resolve a Teferi. But The expansion says to me they don't have a proper counter. They certainly don't have a 2-mana counter. So, can we just go off?
I won't hide from the world any longer. You know what? I'm not done.
Quite possibly. I mean, at the very least, I could try for a Star of Extinction. Hit a land, kill Crackling Drake and Teferi in the same turn. He's seen one fresh new card now, so I guess we'll see what they untap. I don't think... Yeah, they just tap land a Steam Vents, which means they don't have a Sinister Sabotage in play. Otherwise, they'd be able to hold it up here. So I could go something like Star of Extinction, kill everything. They can't expansion it because it's too expensive. The only downside is they might have top-decked a negate, but we'll have to find out. I don't think we can afford to play around it at this stage. He's got too much on board. Sweet. Okay.
I won't let you win.
Alright, and then Sacred Foundry tapped. You always want to hit like the blue-red lands with this deck because Niv Mizzet is very hard to cast. So if you hit those, you can potentially just kill Niv Mizzet in their hand. Okay, so how much mana have we got? 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're 1 mana short of Invocation into Star of Extinction. So I guess we just go Star of Extinction, hit another blue-red land. See if he has an opt. Or a shock. Do they run shock? I feel like I've seen a shock come from Jeskai Control once in a while. They might have boarded it out though. Let's it go. Oh my god. Alright. So now we just need to find our window. And I think our window is on the end step of a Nexus of Fate. Oh, an Expansion Explosion. Oh, this hand is shaping up, I tell you now. Alright, so we're going to end our turn. See if they tap out. If they go for anything, then they make it very easy. So we're just going to go Nexus of Fate. They pretty much have to counter, I would say. Then again, I suppose if they don't counter, they can work on Sunbird's Invocation, but we have the expansion to make sure this resolves. It's a weird one, actually. It all really depends on what they've got in hand, whether or not countering this makes sense. They're gonna go for an opt. Okay. That seems like a panic dig to me. But I could be wrong. Let's see if they must try for a counter, right? They don't. Ooh. And there's a land. Okay, so we go Sunbird's Invocation. If they have a counter spell, then we have to expansion and we can't Nexus in the same turn. However, we have a spare Invocation and we still have all 4 left as well. So let's go for the Invocation. What do they have? They could have any number of things, really. Mostly card draw. They haven't played Chemisters up till now, so there's a chance that maybe is not a thing that they have. So let's go for Nexus now. And just hope that Nexus hits Nexus. Because if they do have the counter, we can't respond to it. And they get to untap and Nova. Oh, they've got a Syncopate X1. Oh, God. Well, we still hit Nexus of Fate. So we get our extra turn all the same. Unless they have another Syncopate X1. Oh, my God. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, I really have to just go for, like, Explosion now, don't I? And I have to do it end step with a negate open. Because they might just go for a Cleansing Nova here. That's really rough. Double Syncopate. They must have been waiting on that one for so long. There's Cleansing Nova. So here's negate. Hopefully hit. Can't cast the treasure map because it's underneath binding. Another land. Okay, so I think we just take this opportunity to go X6 on the explosion. X6. 6 to you, draw 6. Sunbirds into... Where's our other 2 Nexuses? How many cards have we got left? 35. I don't really want to discard this Sunbird's Invocation. Ah, it's really bad. So I guess we have to just star and pinch their mana. Yeah, just hit them with a Star of Extinction. And they scoop it up. Oh my god. Oh my god, what a game. Jesus. Crimbus. I don't even know if that was worth scooping to. But holy crap, I'm so glad that they did. Not hitting Nexus there was really rough. So we could have actually, because we didn't, even though we didn't cast Explosion for 7, which is the cost of Nexus, we actually have the 4 converting mana cost on top of the X, which adds to it. So if we'd have hit Nexus there, we would have been able to cast it, which is really what I would have wanted to happen, because hitting a full grip of cards as well, having Nexus in hand to replay the turns allows us to play all of the Sunbird's Invocations we might draw. And then the Nexus increases its odds of hitting Nexus again. And I think with a deck as thin as we would have had, it would have been very difficult to lose, even with just 2 Nexuses left in our deck. But that double Syncopate X1 was insane. Did not see that one coming. They must have held those for so long just to get that potential hit off of the Sunbird's Invocation. Really nice play from our opponent. Really nice play and a fantastic game. Hope you guys enjoyed this one in particular. This is one of my favourite matches that I think I've ever had with this deck. Against Jeskai Control of all things, a tier 1 deck, taking it down with Sunbird Squee jank. If you have enjoyed, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, share this video around if you did enjoy it as much as I did. Helps out the channel a great deal. And we will be back with a 4th episode for Patreon and Twitch subscribers as well. So if you are one of those, or you want to be one of those, link is down in the description for that. I will post this to the private areas of the Discord as well. Discord is free to join, and there are subscriber benefits while you're in there. But join it for free as well. There's a lot of discussion about the new Ravnica set coming out as well. Love to hear you guys' input on all of the new, brand new, janky little cards. So if you want to be in on that kind of conversation, be sure to go down below. Link is there for everything that you need. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.